Hi, I'm here at JAG Comics with Stephen Fontaine. I'm just going to ask you a few questions relating to cosplay.
Sure.
So, how long have you been doing cosplay? When did you start?
So, generally, I started back in, I want to say, 2006, 7. I remember very distinctly my very first con was going to Anime Next in Jersey. It was the first con I ever went to, and since then I always enjoyed going to cons, and I always enjoyed cosplaying from there, but I only started doing it a little bit more consistently within the last 2 years.
Alright, so what characters have you cosplayed?
I've cosplayed as a lot. Most recently I did Joel from Last of Us for the new game. I've done the Joker plenty of times. I've done the Batman Who Laughs. I've done Spider-Man, specifically the Peter B. Parker from the Spider-Verse movie. I have cosplayed as Zuko from Avatar The Last Airbender. I've cosplayed as a whole lot. I've done Sora from Kingdom Hearts. And I've done like a couple of like niche characters. I've also done like Sans from Undertale, and a couple other ones that were just kind of like mixes of. I've done, the Joker a bunch of times in different versions each time, stuff like that.
Cool. So, what was your first costume?
My first cosplay ever was Sora from Kingdom Hearts 2, specifically. My friend and I went to Anime Next. That was the first con we ever went to, and that was really fun. That was one where I was like, alright, bought it online, put it on, and kind of went. Looking back, I was like, wow, I would have hated that now, but you know what? I had fun, so that's what's important.
It matters. And which character's been your favorite to dress as?
My favorite character to cosplay as is always going to be the Joker. I love every version of my Joker cosplay. I've always done something different, but a part of it is the putting it together, finding things, whether I'm at a thrift store and I find something that's purple or green, I'm like, that's it. Or I see like a design online and I'm like, that's it, I'm going to do that. To like the makeup and the different ways, and over the years getting better at it. This year we did like the zombie theme, so I did a Joker that was all scarred and beat up, and it looked fantastic. So each time I try to find something original to throw into it. So the Joker is always my favorite character. There's a lot of creative freedom with that.
Yeah, very versatile. So what got you interested in cosplay?
Mostly seeing other people doing it. I always liked the aspect of dressing up. And going out and just kind of doing things. I've done, for the last 10 years, I've done a very similar to cosplay, but different charity thing where I would go and help the homeless, but dressed as like an OC superhero. A little more like lined towards like Kick-Ass, like going out and being a superhero in real life.
It's like a real life superhero type.
Yeah, exactly. I did that for like 10 years and then kind of lean more towards cosplay because it's just a bigger and better community where it's like, oh, I can dress as characters I love and do the same kinds of things. So I kind of combined the two ideas together.
It's a really cool idea. So are you in any sort of groups?
I'm in a couple of cosplay-based groups. The Staten Island Cosplayers. I think I've joined your Forgotten Borrow cosplay group. I am in Katsucon group and an anime, mostly like the con groups that pop up when the con's nearby. I've also done a couple of cons a couple of groups that are like, a couple of ones I actually don't remember the names of right now, but I've joined in like enough of them where it's like a lot of them are based around either the boroughs or around New York or around the tri-state area. Mostly because of that connectivity and ease of access towards getting to and from like different cosplayers near you.
Yeah. It's a great community.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know you've also put together events before. So, how many have you put together so far?
I have put together, I think my first event was a year ago. Yeah, a year ago in October. Since then I've done, I want to say 6, but I could be off. So I'm going to roughly ballpark around 6 events since I started, which is from last October. Started with a DC themed Gotham City shoot, and then I did a couple of outside of con events. I've done 2 beach themed shoots, one for DC, one for X-Men. I did the Last of Us shoot recently. That was a very small one, but it was still a fun event. And then we also did another Gotham shoot recently with zombies, and it was kind of like the full circle of the year. And so yeah, I would say around 6.
Cool. And where have you had these events?
Most of them I've kind of done a good balance between having them in Staten Island, like I've done Snug Harbor, and I have a pretty good relationship for doing like the permits and the events. Actually working on a con there for July. So like Snug Harbor and I have a good relationship for consistently going there, and every time I bring cosplayers there, they're like, "You want to come back? Want to do more?" I'm like, "Yeah, here's contact information." But I've also done the beach shoots I did at Coney Island, which were really fun, and I've done shoots like kind of in Queens over by like there's like an abandoned train tracks area that's like really cool for like horror theme. So I've kind of been all over between the boroughs. We did the high rise with a Spider-Verse shoot a few times, so kind of all over, but within like the 5 boroughs.
Okay, so that must mean there's a lot of good locations around.
Yep.
For it. That's awesome. So, I guess you already explained what events you've worked on, so it's the next question. So do you have anything else you're planning right now?
Right now, my big project outside of going to cons, because I would say like my next project is going to KatsuCon. That's where I'm putting most of my effort towards. But outside of doing con stuff, I'm actually working on, with a group, a Staten Island-based convention. It's called Geek Out at Snug Harbor. We had one last year. It was a little bit smaller. This time we're trying to like blow it up. So the person in charge of it got like a group together, me included, and we're trying to like do a lot for promoting it. We're doing a bunch of mini events to build up for it. So I'm kind of giving that my 100% focus, because I want to see that, kind of like how New York Con became like a big thing.
Yeah.
I want to see this also become a big thing. I want all like the Staten Island cons and all the small time borough-based cons like Brooklyn Con to kind of end up like working together and networking all that. Like, hey, come here and see people from this thing, and then the same thing on the other side. Do that in Staten Island.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
So, what goes into planning the events?
So for most of the events that I plan, I usually will sit down. A lot of the time I'll see something that'll like go, that's it, that's the idea. Or sometimes it'll be, I'll read a comic, I'll see fan art. I know the Deceased one, for example. Once I started reading that in, what did it start? I think in June, or like early summer. My first thought was, okay, that's going to be the shoot. That's going to be the October shoot. It's perfect. It's horror. It's got everything I need for October. So then I sat down and I go, okay, let me see if there's any interest. I'll go on Facebook or Instagram. I'll say, hey, who's interested in that? Kind of get an idea of how many people would show up. Then I'll make a Facebook event. I'll kind of have a breakdown of everything. Here's the date in mind. Here's the rough time frame, like this month, this time. I'll reach out first to a photographer. So this one I went with Louis, who is fantastic photographer. He and I have been working together for quite a few times over the last year. So I've reached out to him. He's like, hey, what's your availability in October? These days. All right, we picked a day together, made a whole plan. Then I have to go and look at the location. So my original plan was to do Fort Wadsworth. Awesome place for anything horror related. Or like even if you're doing, I wanted to do an Undertale thing there also. It's just kind of like has this broken down city vibe. You get the skyline in the back, you get the bridge in the back, but also like there's like broken down building looking areas. There's the fort there. It just looks awesome. So I wanted to go there, but when I reached out, so then the main part is reaching out to those people in charge and saying like, hey, what do I need? What kind of permits do I need? Does it base it around the amount of people around? Like if I'm having an event with 15 people, do I need to buy a permit because the permit website says 25 or more, stuff like that. they told me that they only do that their events were actually cut off until 2020 because of they were trying to like fix something behind the scenes. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I went to my backup, which is always Snow Harbor. I have a good relationship with them. I reach out. I have about 20 people or so interested in this event. Can you send me the link for a shooting permit? Because that's like my main thing is always look into shooting permits, make sure I have everything prepared. It depends on where you go. The price can vary. Usually it's always around 100 to 150. Get a shooting permit. Go to the place the day of. Keep constant good relationships with people. Have a meetup spot and keep ramping up that hype as you get closer. Oh, it's a month to the event. Oh, it's 3 weeks to the event. Oh, it's 8 days to the event. Like everybody excited to show up. Big energy all the time, and then everybody just kind of shows up to the events, and then we have a really good time.
Great. Alright, so looks like that's about it.
All right, great.
Is there anything else you want to talk about involving cosplay?
Honestly, not that I can think of. If you have any other questions that you could think of, always feel free to ask. But I mean, I think I was very clear for everything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Glad I was able to do this for you.
Thanks.